Welcome to Slipping Time, folks. And today you probably could tell from the opening shot that we have a turbocharger disassembled. We are going to reassemble this. We got some parts back from Ceramic Coating, so we're going to put this all back together, maybe look at it a little bit to see if there's any other work that needs to be done, and then we're going to put it back in the car. Who doesn't like turbochargers, right? So come join the fun. We put this all together and get it in that car. I just going to show you kind of taking the turbo apart. Just to recap why I've taken this apart is we're going to actually send away for some heat treatment coating, ceramic coating on the O2 housing, the turbine housing, and this FP exhaust manifold, Force Performance. Guess I can take that off. I just put that on. I don't like dust getting in there. You can see I've also plugged any of the cooling chambers that can get exposed. I just like to keep things clean. I noticed I'll probably get another one of these for some reason. I don't know if this is, I don't think this is stainless because I haven't checked it, but it is corroded. Plus I can see that obviously it had a little bit of leak or something. I don't know if it wasn't quite flat or what, but I think we're gonna get a new stainless gasket in between the turbo and the exhaust manifold. The other thing I'm going to do before I send it away, the O2 sensor bung right here is actually stripped for whatever reason. Not actually using in this car. We got a wide band on the down pipe that we're using rather than the narrow band for normal driving because we got a piggyback ECU on that. So on eBay, these are actually hard to find for something that big. It's basically a repair kit for O2 sensors. If you're interested in some of this stuff, where I got it, I will research it. I usually do a lot of research when I do find them, but I bought this a while back. I just haven't used it yet. It's pretty familiar for any of you who used a helicoil. It's the same kind of thing. This, I don't know where it was made. My guess is it was China, but you shouldn't need to use it too much. It actually looks not too bad. So we'll give it a shot. This kit I got, it says it's an HSS bit, or sorry, tap. It might be, but I don't think it's very sharp for, of course this is pretty good metal on here too, but I had to be very, very careful and tap in, tap out a lot, oil it up a lot to make sure I got this right. Next we're going to do is put the what I call a helicoil. I don't know what the generic name is for it. It isn't an actual helicoil brown that I got. It's called a ST M18 1.5, which 18.1 M18 1.5 is actually the thread. So we're all the way through now. Just making sure that's all the way through. Now each time I pull this out and put it back in, I think that's what she said. Anyway, now each time I do that, I usually blow it off, get rid of all the little burrs and stuff so we can start clean. This is actually thicker than, or longer than I want to actually need to put in there. You can see the bung itself, so I just put it in till it hits the kind of the inside surface there, or flush, and then I'll just snip off the rest, and that'll be it. So let's give that a shot. Here is the finished product. You can see it there. Looks pretty good actually. Works real good. I'll just show you here how easy it goes in, and it'll tighten real good there. That is fixed. So if you got something stripped for your O2 sensor, this little kit actually works pretty good. I wouldn't recommend it if you're a mechanic or something, but like I do a lot of them, but I think the kit will probably work for, I'm guessing 10 or so, which is, if you strip more than that in your amateur lifetime, then I think you might want to look at something else to do. So here we have the disassembled turbocharger and obviously the exhaust manifold, the O2 housing. This all got ceramic coating. Why do we ceramic coat it? We ceramic coat it basically to keep the heat inside and not outside. We don't want, I've explained in previous videos, we do not want heat in that engine bay. It's your enemy, but you do want heat inside going through your turbine. I'm not going to get into detail of why that is the case as far as your turbine and why it loves the hot gases. There's lots of stuff out there that can tell you exactly why. There's all the mathematics that go with it. I could go into that, but I think there's just more out there than, there's more than enough out there for you to go there if you want. So you don't need to hear that from me as well. So we're going to assemble this. We're also going to go through this turbocharger a little bit, and right now I'm actually going to do it just to show you. Speaking turbochargers, for those that are well versed in turbochargers, this is a Force Performance model. You probably already picked that up by the FP little component here. Go ahead in the comments and see if you guess or you know which actual model this one is once you see all the parts. I'm curious how much you are able to recognize them, and then I'll say back in the comments exactly what it was, and we'll have a little fun with that. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is a new turbocharger, so I don't expect any problems with this at all, but I'll just kind of go through it. The shaft play is obviously something you want to make sure of, that it isn't there. There's none in here, and it's in and out, by the way, in case you're wondering. Obviously, if you have some side to side, that's a whole other problem. It'll be rubbing as well. I can't kind of spin this with one hand, but because it's not sitting up like that, but you also want it to rotate freely, no doubt. These, so you know, turbochargers spin. They spin to like 100,000 to 200,000, 250,000 RPMs. I think a lot of you knew that. A lot of you might not realize that. A lot's going on. You want to make sure these things are operating to their maximum, and they're ready to go, and there's nothing wrong with them, because if something goes wrong, it goes wrong very quickly on these. And for those of you experienced that, I'm sorry you have, but it does happen. The biggest thing to protect these is, and you see a lot of people on race cars have these opened up to the atmosphere, but you do not want anything hitting these blades, because it'll kill them right away. They're made of aluminum. They can't take a lot of abuse. They're meant to be light speed and to move air. They're not meant to withstand any impacts. You may have to replace this if you have this open atmosphere. So if you're just doing, having some fun out there, don't do that just to show it off. Make sure you have this covered with some type of air filter or something. It doesn't make sense. There's no real gains as far as if you're that guy, unless you're trying to get every last tenth or a hundredth, actually, if you're down in the low eights or whatever you are on the track. So let's be cautious there. This one, I think you can see it here. I'm not sure what happened here. It's a new turbocharger, and I know this wouldn't have been Force Performance, because their quality assurance is pretty amazing out there. So the installers that did this, and it wasn't Kurt Brown, by the way. This was put in after Kurt Brown by a garage. And I don't know what they did. Some of you are going to say that it's probably the compressor pipe hit it, but that isn't what happened. The compressor pipe on this is 4 inches, and there's no way it could go past. If you look, this is actually inset compared to this, and there's no way, I've tried it even, you can angle that enough to damage that. And it also, and if you can kind of see it, it's turned this way, and the way it's flanged, it hit on an angle here, which again, if you're doing a pipe or something, you would have to angle like that to even try and get past this, the way the angles work here. So I would definitely know it's not that if you're thinking that. Don't know what hit it. And this probably will be not a big deal, but again, we're gonna make this right, especially it's a new turbocharger. So what I'm gonna do, and I'll take you through that probably in high speed, I guess, and just show you how I'm gonna polish this out a bit and smooth it out and make it a little bit. It might have a little bit of a you know, a little downward, inward part there, part of it, but that's not going to matter too. I just want to make sure it cuts the air properly. Again, I don't think it's going to make even a big deal at all, but there's no way I want to put a new turbocharger in and assemble all this and not make it right. So I'll take you through that. We're going to clean up these a little bit. That's just for assembling your turbine onto your compressor wheel. In case you're wondering, this is the compressor wheel, this is the turbine housing. Or sorry, this is the compressor wheel, this is the compressor housing, and this is the turbine housing. And that's the wastegate. I think you guys all know that if you're watching this, but I'll take you through that. So let's clean this up, get it put together, and as I notice things, I'll show you. Something that is pretty important when you are doing any type of work around here, especially if I'm going to be removing some metal to polish this and kind of make it better. You don't want any foreign stuff going here, and I will blow it out and make sure there's nothing in there, but you never know. Something could get lodged or stuck in there and you don't realize it with the way those fins and the way it is. So I will be sealing this up very well, and then I will go through a process of cleaning it out. Very important. So you're going to see me do that as I do this. The other thing is I'll just tell you how I'm going to start this, and I use, in this particular case, and every situation is different, but I'm going to use this handy little deburr tool, and this is normally for when you drill holes, but basically what I'll do is I'm going to start shaving off very nicely the little jagged edge that's been caused by that little dent that's there. Before I do any polishing with a wheel or anything, is just some 2000 grit sandpaper, and just see if that's enough to, I may have to go less and then up again, but I'm going to try this first. Just not sure how well I got grooves in it there. And you want to be careful not to rip some of it off here. Try not to, because you don't have to polish everything else, so only do the part that you want to work on. Not until it's your final, I guess. We got our way we wanted. In fact, I'm going to say that that is too shiny now compared to the rest of the compressor. The other thing to remember too is not only do you need to clean this, make sure your hands are clean too, because that's something that's overlooked is people have these really dirty hands. They'll be even in a clean room, if you're familiar with the clean room is when for assembly, but they've never cleaned themselves up to remove anything that can drop in at that point. So it's always good that if you make sure you clean yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This turned out better than I expected, to be honest. I wasn't sure how it was all gonna pan out there, but yeah, it turned out really good. If you look at it, do you remember where it was? Where the blemish was? I don't think you do. And if you do, it's probably because you see the shiniest part of it now is where the blemish was. So if you really, really look, and I can't even focus it enough. Let's try and focus this enough to, there we are. That's right there. So if you do it straight on, you cannot tell. So we did it pretty good. And you're never going to be able to see it on here, but I can see a little bit of a low spot there from just because material was dented in. I didn't want to add material, but it is like a thou. Like you have to look really closely, but as far as functionality, it's ready to run. She's perfect. So really happy I did that. She's good as new. And just like the day it came out of Forest for Performance. So awesome. Let's get this together now. I'm just cleaning up a few things before I assemble them. It's nice, good practice to always keep things clean and assemble them. No surprises later then, right? Okay, I'm gonna put this back on now to the, this is the turbine housing I'd mentioned before. This is the compressor housing, and I'm gonna put that inside, and it obviously goes in there. I have this upside down. I'm sure you noticed that already. So typically what's gonna happen is it's gonna be that configuration, and I'll see if I can set that there for now. And this is going to be where the exhaust manifold here comes in, and the collector joins on there, and then it goes basically in and through your exhaust this way, your O2 housing. And you'll see how that's all put together. And I have the compressor clocked, and if you're familiar with clocking, it's basically how you want to have your compressor inlet and your exhaust, your turbine housing as well, how it's configured, because you might want that inlet port to be up or whoever on an angle, and you can actually adjust that on most turbos because it's the way they go together. This one I'm just putting to the basic configuration where the inlet is down for the compressor housing, and the exhaust manifold kind of hangs on there, so that's why it goes right there. Most configurations would want it on the downside like this on the inlet, because your intercooler piping, and you better have intercooler piping and have an intercooler. Your intercooler piping typically goes under the car or somewhere in the front or whatever. Obviously, if you got other configurations in your car, race cars, one interesting one I always like to pick on Subarus is where they have the turbo in the back of it. I think they could have done a better engineering job of that. They still seem to do that, but as far as working on it, it sucks, and I just don't understand why you'd want all that heat back there and try to get it cooled from the front. But that's a whole other discussion that I'm sure some of you have encountered with Subi guys. Not that I don't mind Subarus, I just don't like that particular design compared to this. These are a little oxidized, and well, they're kind of burnt up from the coating that was on them. These are the little clamps that go on to put them on. I'm going to clean these up just because I got them out. They're still functional fine, but again, you know me, I got to clean things up. So I'm going to go do that right now. So these go on essentially like a fitting like this. And then these go on, it's kind of a washer like that. What I'm going to do is put these in. And these generally are pretty good from not seizing up, but I like to use this copper anti-seize lubricant. It's really good for high applications. Obviously, you're putting Loctite in these, you wouldn't want to do this, but that's a little different situation. I'm just going to put them on loosely, because then I can actually clock this exactly where I want it once I get there. So, and you don't need a lot of this anti-seize. It coats pretty easy, and if you put too much on, you get it all over the place, and you don't want that. I'm just going to turn it on, put the other, see how it turned already? So, put this one in here. fun begins. As we put the O2 housing on with the V-bands, with the wastegate. And it seems like it should be pretty straightforward, but it generally isn't, especially if you don't want to scratch the crap out of stuff or bang or wreck anything. So we'll take some time to do this, basically. Just got to figure out how it actually went again. Make it the best way to do this. Oh, you know what, something I forgot to tell you? So once you got all this on, basically got your turbine and your compressor wheel all together. It should have went on straight. You should have been very careful, but give it a spin. Give it a spin. Because if it's not straight, these are going to rub inside the housing here. And I also wanted to check because the coating, it has very little tolerance there between the fins and actually the housing itself. So hopefully you can see that. What can you see there? No, I'll hold it upright for you. It'd be better. So right there between the fins and the housing here, there's very little tolerance. With coating, it actually could rub. The coating would just rub off, but if you don't have this all together right, you'll definitely rub, and you don't want that. So yeah, just give it a spin. She works pretty good, so we're good there. Gonna make some AN fittings now. These lines are actually okay for the turbocharger. These are the coolant lines for it. But we're gonna do again with the black theme, plus the stainless steel that aren't nylon covered there. They scratch a bit, so we're gonna go with the black theme and use these nylon ones. So I just got to change the fittings on them. In case you're wondering what I'm doing now, those of you who've done this before probably know, I'm putting tape on here to make sure that this hose, when you tighten up the top end, that it doesn't push this hose down, because you don't want it to. You want this to fit in the hose that way, and then it can do the expansion compression. It fits. If it pushes this hose down, obviously it just pushes it down and it'll leak. So that's my little marker. Just use painter's tape. Easiest way to do that. Also put a little lube down there. I just use motor oil. You can use the good stuff if you want, but motor oil is fine. I use a cotton swab. When I do use cotton swabs, I make sure that the ones that do not fall apart and leave lint everywhere, like these guys from MG Chemicals is the ones I usually use. They're good for all kinds of things. So here it is, all put together. Thanks for joining me for that and seeing what it takes to put it together and making sure that it's done right. Can't wait to get this inside the car. Can't wait to start up the car, and you're going to be along with that journey with me as well until we actually get it to the track, and we're going to do that as well. So until then, please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy every day, and always make it right.